We were founded back in 22. We've been around for 87 years. We were acquired by BT in 97. The important part of this from a TPS standpoint, we were acquired by Toyota in 2000. That's where the TPS information comes from, is that as with any acquisition, we get inundated with things from the new parent company, and it comes at you very quickly and in great amounts of massive information. And so we got management principles, all kinds of them. We got thrown all kinds of concepts that you're probably well aware of, but coming from a family-run organization with a very traditional approach to quality, this was overwhelming. We didn't know what to do with it. We had advisors showing up. We had cartons of books showing up. Great information, but any good idea that goes unimplemented is just another good idea. We had to figure out how to make it actionable. So what we did, we said, let's go find a champion. Let's identify someone who's going to go and learn these things and bring it back that we can understand and interpret it and make it actionable. So we found a champion. We found an individual who was willing to go to Japan, spent 3 months there, living it. Brought back lots of great information for us and tried to figure out how do we take these concepts and put them into our very traditional quality organization where we inspect quality into product. We took that information. We communicated across the business. We trained. We did all the things we were supposed to do right. And in a year, didn't see too much. What we learned, it's not a task. The TPS really starts to change. We had to figure out how to change the culture. And so we took a step back, said, okay, let's start simple. Why are we doing this? And this is the first thing that Toyota taught us. We're doing this to remain profitable. Stay in business, make money. Okay, where do we begin? Productivity, waste was our primary target. Reduce costs and to visualize problems. Those are the 3 keys that we wanted to focus on out of the gate. Let's start simple. We can build on it from there. Okay? I guess I stay up here. Kaizens. Let's get a process in place that we can begin to get involvement with our employees. That was important. We had to engage them and start to understand the basics of the philosophy we were really trying to drive. 5S. Basic cleaning. Let's start to organize our business in such a fashion where it helps us and put some structure around it. And one of the things I'm going to spend most of the time talking about, Asachi meetings. What that is, and I'll go into more detail, is a way of identifying, visualizing, and beginning corrective action processes on our defects. And eventually transition into disruptions. And I'll talk more in detail about the difference between them, because they're huge in the way that we run our business. On the Kaizens, spend a few minutes. We did all the traditional things. We put together a database. Obviously, we got to track this stuff. If we can't track it, we don't know what we're doing. We trained. We set expectations. We set metrics and goals up. All the traditional things of how to approach it. We got some benefits from it. But we learned we had to do more. This is key. It wasn't good enough to put a process in place that the management didn't become part of the process. And again, this is pretty basic stuff, but we found out how important it was in the TPS world. We had to be involved. Recognition, reward, very basic things. Clear, consistent communication. The biggest thing that we had to make sure that we did was we had to be involved, we had to be on the floor, we had to get our butts out of our office and be on the factory floor. We had to show involvement, and we had to show that it was important. That was the biggest thing. Once we got out on the floor and we lived this, as opposed to just talking to it from letters from the office, we started to see a change in our actions. Trust. We've got to eliminate the fear. I'll show you some of the goals that we had set and the gains against them, and you'll see why. When people come up with ideas of how to eliminate 50% of their job for streamlining, we have to take away the fear that they're not going to lose their jobs, that we have other things for them. And we had to learn that. It was a learning process for us to truly understand that perception. We expect them to come back with all types of recommendations about how to streamline work, but without any promise that it would be okay at the end of the day, that it was good to do that. The next one, and probably the most I'll come back and harp on, was speed. If an individual comes up with a recommendation to do something and we don't act on it almost immediately, we send a message that it's not important. They stop feeding that engine of recommendations. We are expecting 1 Kaizen per employee per week. That's where we started off. We ended up this past year with 2 a day from every employee that we had once we got the engine going. And I'll show you some of the data that goes with that. Those are the things that we had to do to make the process work. The process didn't feed itself. We had to drive it. On the 5S, we did the same thing. We put a process in place. We trained. We set expectations. We set metrics. We got some things. We got some gains. Wasn't good enough. We didn't see the results that we really wanted to see. Seems to be a trend here. All the same things we learned about on the Kaizens, we had to do with 5S. Manager involvement, trust, and the speed of reaction to recommendations. We, as a management team, we control the resources, we control the priorities. We had to demonstrate our involvement by showing that it was important to do and that we could apply the resources and the priorities and the things that mattered to the people that were given recommendations. It was key.